Last game I looked at was a kind of a smaller pocket game. Today I thought I'd look at a bigger game. I thought I'd look at is fantasy based. It's HeroQuest from 1989 from Milton Bradley. At that time I was into AD&D as being a dungeon master and stuff, so because of that I wasn't really that familiar with HeroQuest at that time, but I think it has some merit. I definitely want to give a look at it. My understanding is this game has recently been reissued. I'm not sure how similar the recent release of it is. I think like in the last year or two it's been released. But this is the vintage version from 1989, 1990. It's a big box. It's about 12.5 inches by 20 inches and like 2.25 inches thick. Art is well done, showing fantasy and big battle going on there. A lot of details of different characters. Obviously warriors and elves, dwarves, magic user are the main characters. Then you have all sorts of bad guys going around. Ages 10 to adult, 2 to 5 players. It's an interesting, I mean, I'm not going to make too many comparisons to D&D. It's quite different than that, but it's in some ways a little bit like a kind of an evil dungeon master going against the heroes in a way, as you'll see. But not exactly, but that's kind of a fun thought to have anyway. A little more in the back here. And the back cover is great, gives you a real sense of what's going on. It's got a screen here of the... Turns out he'll be the evil wizard here. And then you have the playing area. As you can see, there's several miniatures involved. You got cards. Some dice here for randomness. Got some strategy going on. It goes, you do different quests. Dark caverns, gory monsters, deadly traps, and worse. Once you enter the mysterious underground world of HeroQuest, there's no coming back. One of you will play the part of Zargon, the Evil Sorcerer. With your mutant monster forces, you'll plot against the heroes. Watch as they fall prey to your cunning traps. The rest of you must battle against Zargon. Which starring hero will you be? Barbarian, elf, wizard, or dwarf? Looks pretty intriguing. In the rulebook I didn't see any other credits, but it's 1989-1990 Milton Bradley Company. Developed with Games Workshop. You have a few pages of background, but summary here, brief introduction. HeroQuest is a fantasy adventure game set deep within the Hidden Stone Labyrinth. This maze of underground rooms and corridors is controlled by the evil sorcerer Zargon and its forces of chaos. 4 valiant heroes have been summoned by Mentor, the good and ancient sage, to do battle with chaos. Theirs is the ultimate heroic challenge. Descend into the treacherous world of the unknown and restore honor to the Empire. Destroy the evil forces of chaos. Bonded by their loyalty to the Empire, the brave heroes unite, stepping cautiously their journey deeper and deeper into a dark, hidden world. One player assumes the role of Zargon, the evil sorcerer, and controller of the game. The other players assume the role of heroes, the barbarian, the dwarf, the elf, and the wizard. 2 to 5 players. It's played in 14 sequential game-playing session called quests. Each quest is described in a quest book. One quest may take an hour or 2 to play. They get more difficult. During a quest, a hero may acquire treasures. They may be used to purchase powerful weapons and armor. The heroes work together to defeat Zargon and the forces of chaos. Here's all the components included. As you can see, there's a lot. Got furniture, doors, screens, cards, some tiles, character sheets, character definition, cards, dice, board, reference for the armory, quest book, and instruction booklet. Here's the tiles. They're used for skulls are for tracking damage. Others are placed on the board. I think I'm missing a few in the set I have. I think you're supposed to have around 33, but I have all the unique ones here. Got secret doors, skull, again for tracking damage, falling blocks, pit traps, bug squares, this is a 2-wide one, stairs, and then a smaller bug squares. There's 4 different heroes: dwarf, wizard, elf, barbarian. It's got these nice miniatures for each, shown here. And then on the different information cards, which are, kind of a thick card. You have attack dice, defend dice, starting points for body and mind, the movement dice, starting weapon, starting armor, then a little bit of background as well, of course. And these are the movement dice to figure out how far the heroes can move in a turn, which is an interesting way of doing it. These are dice for combat and also define success of various actions. Character sheet, and you maintain these across the different quests you do. Name, character, attack dice, defend dice, starting points, weapons, and as you go along between missions you can buy different weapons and armor. Keep track of your body points, mark off the quests you complete, keep track of your gold coins and potions and other items. It's a nice little character sheet there. It's got a pad of those. Here's the other miniatures. They're a bit larger than standard D&D miniatures, for instance, and they're well done. The gray ones are the chaos monsters. These are the 4 chaos warriors, chaos warlock, and a really nice gargoyle here, which actually comes in 3 parts you got to put together. Then you got some undead type creatures here. You got 4 skeletons, 2 zombies, and 2 mummies. And I believe these are the goblins. There's 6 of those. I believe these are the orcs, 8 of those. And these are the 3 Fimir. This is the screen the Zargon player uses. You can set it up like that. And on this screen has the reference of the motions, etc. and actions. But then it also defines the monsters in terms of these are different types of monsters. And their movement, squares, attack dice, defend dice, body points, and mind points. As far as furniture and other components, these are pretty well done. Some of these have multiple, there's multiple bookcases. Then you have a cupboard, sorcerer's table, tomb, treasure chest, multiple of those, alchemist bench, throne, fireplace, table, closed door and open door, a rack, and a weapons rack. Then you also have bottles and rats and skulls and candlesticks. Several cards. There's spell cards, like for instance fire spell, air spell, chaos spell, water spell, earth spell. And here's some examples of them, like for instance fire spell, ball of flame. It says a word can be cast, how much damage it does. Chaos spell, command, putting a hero under Zargon's command, and water spell, water of healing, earth spell, pass through rock, air spell, tempest. Then there's artifacts you can find along the way in these cards. For instance, a wand of magic, which is nice. Treasure cards. These are some examples. You find gold or jewels. Come across a wandering monster, or you might find like a potion, like defense of like Potion of Defense, for instance. Monster cards, the example, defines a zombie and how it moves, it attacks, defends, its body points and mind points. You have the HeroQuest rulebook, which we'll go over in detail, 23 pages, got some examples. Then the HeroQuest quest book. This quest book got 14 quests in it, and the typical setup for a quest is shown here. You have the parchment text, which you can read to the heroes, so they see what their quest is. Quest map tells you how you're supposed to set up the game board, where furniture is, where the different types of monsters are, where traps are, for instance, where stairs are. And then instructions for Zargon that he keeps to himself and won't tell the heroes unless it says to. In the box here there's a insert that shows you the armory, and these are things you can buy in between quests for a certain amount of gold. And then what abilities they give you. For instance, toolkit, short sword, helmet, dagger, broadsword, shield, chainmail, plate mail, battle axe, long sword, staff, crossbow. And it shows how to affect which combat die, for instance. And you maybe, for instance, toolkit can be used for searching for and finding traps, or increasing your armor, your defense dice with a different armor, for instance. Here's the game board, very well done, about 19 and a half by 24 inches or so. It's mounted board, different rooms, and you can set up your doors according to your quest. It tells you how to set up where the doors and the furniture are, and monsters go in the squares, heroes will go in the squares, might have some traps, go in the squares. The gray areas are corridors, the colored areas are different rooms, and the white boundaries are walls. Very well done. I like kind of the designs around the edges too, kind of gives a neat medieval feel to it. Overall the components are great. Going through the rules here, so it's discussed in terms of there's Zargon, and then there's the heroes. They're competitive, so you talk from the different perspectives in the rules. Ones that apply to Zargon are shown by this symbol, the hero is shown by this symbol. And in the quest book, Zargon reads all the stuff, but there's some items like parchment shown here, for instance, that is read to the heroes that they're aware of. Zargon to begin the quest. So I'm going to read the parchment text section. Quest 1 from the quest book. To heroes, it is important that the heroes understand the history behind the quest and the goals set before them. Important, only read aloud the parchment text section. The other information is to be kept secret from the heroes. Order of play. Play begins with the hero seated to Zargon's left and continues clockwise. After all heroes have completed their turns, it is Zargon's turn. On his turn, Zargon may move all monsters currently on the game board. The sequence continues until the quest is achieved, or until the heroes leave the underworld. Hint: a good starting setup would be for the barbarian to sit to Zargon's left, followed by a dwarf, elf, and then to Zargon's right, the wizard. On any player's turn, whether playing the role of Zargon or that of the hero, a player does one of the following in his turn: moves his figures and performs an action, or performs an action and moves his figures. On a hero's turn, as a hero you may move and then perform an action, or you may perform an action and then move, but don't stop in the middle of moving to do an action, for instance. You may perform any one of the following 6 actions: attack, cast a spell, wizard, elf only, Search for treasure, search for secret doors, search for traps, disarm a trap. Hero movement. As a hero, you normally begin and end a quest in the room marked with a stairway, unless otherwise specified in the quest book. To safely complete a quest, you must return to the stairway, for it is only there that you are truly free from harm. To determine how many square spaces to move, you must roll 2 red dice, then move carefully along the corridors into the room square by square. On the game board, the corridors are shown by the areas with light gray flooring. Corridors may be 1 or 2 squares wide. The rooms are enclosed by white lines, the walls. You do not have to move the entire distance indicated by a dice roll. When moving, however, you cannot pass over monsters, move through walls, or move diagonally. You may pass over other heroes. You may only enter rooms through doors. You may not share a square with another hero or with a monster, exceptions. When on the stairs or in pit traps, sharing squares is permitted. Looking and opening doors. As a hero while moving, you may look down a corridor or through an open door. Looking gives you the opportunity to see what is directly within your line of sight. Looking is not one of the 6 actions. On your turn, you may move adjacent to a closed door and ask Zargon to open it. Zargon will open the door by removing the closed door piece and replacing it with an open door piece. Opening a door is also not one of the 6 actions, but looking and opening doors are simply considered to be additional things you may do on your turn. Note all doors that are closed. Once the door is opened, it can never be closed. Important, getting caught in a trap, drinking potions, and picking up things also do not count as actions. They can be done at any time during your turn. Then how Zargon reacts to hero movement. As Zargon, when a hero looks down a corridor, place on the game board any closed doors, block square tiles, and monsters that are directly within the hero's line of sight. When a hero opens a door, place on the game board the monster's treasure chest and any other items that belong in that room. Note, do not put out any traps or secret doors. Do not reveal treasure at this time. Block square tiles. As Zargon, you must place a block square tile on the game board as soon as it becomes visible to the hero. These tiles show where extra walls have been built. Neither heroes nor monsters can move through block squares. Then the 6 hero actions. Action 1, attack. As a hero, you may attack any monster that you are adjacent to. You are adjacent if you are directly to the side, front or rear of another square. You may only attack once per turn. Your attack strength depends on your attack weapon. The stronger the weapon, the greater the number of attack dice used. Some weapons allow you to attack diagonally or from a distance. Most weapons, however, do not. Important, you may only attack with 1 weapon at a time. At the start of the first quest, each hero is armed with a specific weapon. Refer to the hero's character card for a starting weapon and attack dice number. The barbarian begins with the greatest starting weapon, the broadsword. The dwarf's starting weapon is a short sword. He also possesses an inner strength, a special knack for disarming traps. The elf also starts with a short sword. He is a good fighter and has some knowledge of the magic arts. The elf begins each quest with 3 magic spells, 1 spell group. The wizard starts with a small dagger. He has great knowledge of magic and is a master spellcaster. He begins each quest with 9 magic spells, 3 spell groups. However, he is handicapped by his inability to wear normal armor or use large weapons. How a hero attacks. You must roll the white combat dice to attack. The number of dice to roll depends on the number you are using for the attack. Check your character sheet for your attack strength. Failure to roll any skulls results in a failed attack. Each skull rolled is considered a hit, resulting in 1 body point of damage scored against a monster. If hit, the monster immediately defends by rolling its defense dice. If the monster's body points reach 0, the monster is considered dead and is removed from the game. Then Zargon, how a monster defends. A defending monster rolls the number of defend dice shown in the monster chart on the information screen. Each black shield rolled by a defending monster blocks 1 hit from the attacking hero. Many monsters are killed with only 1 hit. Some monsters, however, require more than 1 hit. For those monsters requiring more than 1 hit, monster damage is tracked by the use of skull tiles. Zargon, for each hit your monster sustains, you must record the hit by placing a skull tile under the monster figure on the game board. Note, if the monster survives the attack, you cannot attack the hero back until Zargon's next turn. A trip to the armory for the hero. As a hero, you may collect valuable treasures such as gold coins during a quest. Between quests, you may use gold coins to purchase powerful weapons and protective armor from the armory. See cardboard platform. These weapons allow you to increase your attack and defense strength, and you may also give you unique combat advantages. For instance, daggers and crossbows are special weapons due to their ability to hit a monster from distance. Some long weapons, like the staff and longsword, allow you to attack diagonally. The attack is made and defended normally. Using diagonal weapons allows more than one hero to attack a monster blocking a doorway. Note: for complete information on all the weapons and armor, please refer to the armory and the cardboard platform. Action 2. Cast a spell for the hero. Elf and wizard only. As the elf or wizard, you may cast a spell instead of attacking. You may cast a spell at anything you can see. Important: you may only cast a spell on your turn. C. For the elf or wizard to cast a spell, the target must be visible. Heroes and monsters are only visible if an unobstructed straight line can be traced from the spellcaster to the target. Draw an invisible straight line between the center of the square of the spellcaster is on and the center of the square the target is on. If the line does not cross a wall, closed door, hero, monster, the target is declared visible, even if the line just touches the corner or wall edge. And an example is shown here. As the elf or wizard, you may cast a spell on yourself, another hero, or on a monster. Once the spell is cast, a spell card is discarded for the remainder of the quest. Each spell may be cast only once per quest. Use them wisely. Note: a spell and its effects are explained in detail in the corresponding spell card. For the hero, Action 3. Search for treasure. Treasure is found only in rooms and corridors. A room may be searched by all 4 heroes. Each individual hero may only search the room once, and may do so only on his own turn. Note: some treasures are protected by a trap. See search for traps and the following. How a hero searches for treasure. As a hero, you may search a room for treasure only if the room is uninhabited by monsters. As a hero, you must first verbally declare your search. Do so by saying, "I am searching for treasure." Searching for treasure means you are looking around, opening things, searching for interesting objects. Gold coins. Gold coins regardless of what square you are in the room in. Do not move your hero figure when you search. If there is no special treasure called out to Zargon in the quest book, you as a hero must draw a random card from the treasure card deck and read it aloud. The card could offer you a variety of things, including riches and magical potions. Record any gold coins or potions on your character sheet. These valuable treasure cards, gold coins and potions, are not returned to the treasure deck until the next quest. Note: if you wish, you may share the gold coin treasures with the other heroes. Later between quests, you may use the treasure to purchase additional weapons and armor from the armory. Be careful: almost half of the treasure cards contain wandering monsters and hazards. These bad treasure cards are returned to the treasure deck and may be redrawn in the next treasure search. Important: the treasure cards must be shuffled before a hero draws one from the deck. And Zargon, how Zargon reacts to a hero's search for treasure. As Zargon, if there's a special treasure as described in the quest notes, you must read aloud the treasure description once the treasure has been found. The special treasure is discovered only once by the first hero who searches the room for treasure, even if other heroes later search that same room. If there is no special treasure in the searched room, direct the searching hero to draw a treasure card as described. However, if the hero draws a wandering monster or hazard card, do the following. So Zargon does wandering monsters. These monsters pop out of holes in hidden places and wander into rooms. As Zargon, you must place the monster next to the treasure searcher and immediately roll attack dice. On this round, you can only attack the treasure searcher. After the attack, the wandering monster remains on the game board and can't be moved like other monsters. Note: if the surrounding squares are occupied and it is not possible to place a monster next to searcher, put the monster in the room as close to the searcher as possible. Then in your next turn, the monster can move and attack like other monsters. How heroes respond to wandering monsters. As a hero, you roll combat dice to defend against a wandering monster's attack. You may then continue with your turn. Hazards. As a hero, when you draw a hazard card from the treasure card deck, read the card aloud and follow its directions. Hero, more about treasures. Treasures can be a variety of things, including gold coins, magic spells, artifacts, and potions. Artifacts, 10 of the special treasures, are called artifacts. Each is described in detail on its corresponding artifact card. These items include weapons, armor, and items that provide additional powers. Finding an artifact may also be the objective of a particular quest. Important certain artifacts may only be used by a specific hero. Potions. As a hero, you may drink a potion at any time. The way potion works and how long its effects last are listed on the potion treasure card and sometimes in the quest book. You may drink more than one potion at a time. If your body points are reduced to 0, you may drink a healing potion before you die and save yourself by restoring 1 or more of your body points. You may give one of your potions to a fellow hero, but you may do so only on your turn. Action 4, search for secret doors. Secret doors are hidden portals that cannot be seen when you, as a hero, look into a room or down a corridor. These doors are concealed in a variety of ways, including sliding panels and pivoting bricks. You will not discover a secret door unless you search for one. How a hero searches for secret doors. As a hero, you can only search for secret doors if there are no monsters visible to you. You must first verbally declare your search. Do so by saying, "I am searching for secret doors." Zargon will then disclose a secret door is located in the room or corridor that you are in by placing a secret door tile on the game board square where the secret door is located. Do not move your hero figure when you search. The door is not considered open until you move adjacent to it and declare that you are opening it. Once the door is opened, Zargon will place on the game board the items that are beyond the secret doorway. Once open, the door cannot be closed. Then Hero Action 5, search for traps. There are 4 kinds of traps: pit traps, falling block traps, spear traps, and chest furniture traps. They can be found in both rooms and corridors. Only Zargon knows where these traps are hidden. If, as a hero, you move onto a square that contains a pit, falling block, or spear trap, you will automatically spring the trap, possibly suffering body damage. A treasure chest or piece of furniture may also contain a trap. If you search for treasure without first searching for traps, you will spring the trap. Remember, it often pays to take the time to search. How a hero searches for traps. As a hero, you can only search for traps if there are no monsters visible to you. You must first verbally declare your search. Do by saying, "I am searching for a trap." Zargon will then tell you which squares, if any, have traps. He will not, however, put any trap tiles out on the board. At this time, they are still concealed and unsprung. Once the trap is discovered, you may be able to jump the trap, or on your next turn, disarm it. Warning, there are some traps in the room that have been placed directly on the other side of the door. Beware. The first hero to encounter the room through that door will encounter the trap and suffer damage. Note, as a hero, you cannot search for these traps by looking through the door. You must be in the room to search for any traps in it. Monsters do not spring hidden traps. The 4 kinds of traps: locations of pit traps, falling block traps, spear traps, and chest furniture traps are marked in gold in the quest maps in the quest book. Pit trap. A pit trap is a covered hole in the floor. If the trap is found during a search, Zargon will say that the floor looks weak and will point to the square where the trap is located. Zargon will not put a pit trap tile on the game board at this time. It has not yet been sprung. Once pit trap is discovered, a hero may be able to jump the trap, or in his next turn, disarm it. If a hero does not search for traps and moves onto a pit trap square, he automatically springs the trap. Springing a pit trap. As a hero, if you move onto a pit trap square, Zargon will stop you by saying you've just stumbled into a pit. Zargon will then put a pit trap tile in the square on your hero figure and will tell you that you've suffered 1 body point damage in the fall. This ends your turn. You must then record your body point damage on your character sheet. What happens to a hero in a pit? As a hero, once in a pit, you may search the pit for treasure or secret doors as if it were a separate room unto itself. When in a pit, you may also attack and defend, but you must roll 1 less combat die when doing so. This applies to monsters as well. Known as a hero, your minimum attack and defense strength is always 1 combat die, even if the pit penalty will reduce your dice to 0. Normally you can move out of a pit on your next turn. Once a pit trap is sprung and a pit tile placed on the board, the trap cannot be disarmed and removed. As a hero, you may, however, attempt to jump over it. Falling block traps. Heroes beware, falling block traps are very dangerous. Stepping on one may trigger the ceiling to collapse. If such a trap is found during a search, Zargon Say if the ceiling looks dangerous and will point to the square where the trap is located. Zargon will not put a falling block tile on the game board. This time it has not been sprung. Once an unsprung falling block trap is discovered, a hero may attempt to jump the trap, or he may later try to disarm it on his next turn. If a hero does not search for traps and moves onto a falling block trap square, he springs the trap. Springing a falling block trap. As a hero, if you move onto a falling block trap square, Zargon will stop you by saying, "You just sprung a falling block trap. The ceiling is caving in. Look out." Zargon will then put a falling block trap on the square under your hero figure. Once the falling block trap has been sprung and put out on the board, it cannot be disarmed or jumped. Zargon will then give you 3 combat dice to roll. For each skull roll, you suffer 1 body point damage. You may not roll defend dice. You must now make a decision. You can either move ahead or move back to an empty space. Remember, the trap space is now a permanent block in the game. Move to a space you've decided upon. This ends your turn. Spear traps. The spear trap is carefully hidden. If found during a search, Zargon will say that the square looks suspicious and will point to the square where the trap is located. Once a spear trap is discovered, a hero may attempt to jump over the trap or disarm it. As a hero, when you step onto a spear trap square, you automatically spring a trap. This causes a spear to thrust out of the wall, floor, or ceiling. Spring a spear trap. As a hero, when moving onto a spear trap square, you must roll 1 combat die. If you roll a skull, you suffer 1 body point damage. This ends your turn. If you roll either a black or white shield, you have dodged out of the way of the spear. You may then continue with your move. The spear trap is now gone forever, and the square can be moved onto safely. There are no spear trap tiles. Chest furniture traps. A chest furniture trap can be a variety of things, including poison gas, poison needles, etc. If the room or corridor that the chest furniture is located in is being searched for traps, Zargon will say that the chest furniture looks dangerous and will point to the chest furniture in question. Once the chest furniture trap is discovered, a hero may attempt to disarm it on his next turn. Springing a chest furniture trap. As a hero, if you search a room for treasure, before searching the room for traps, any chest furniture traps in the room will be sprung into your turn. You then suffer the consequences described to Zargon in the quest notes. If you successfully disarm the trap is removed, and you may continue with your move. You may search to disarm chest furniture for treasure on your next turn. Jumping a trap. As a hero, if your path is blocked by a trap, you may attempt to pass by jumping over it. To jump over a trap, you must do the following. You must have at least 2 squares of movement remaining, as if you moved onto the trap adjacent, and then onto 1 unoccupied adjacent square beyond. You must roll anything but a skull on the 1 combat die to jump the trap. If a skull is rolled, you spring the trap, suffering the body damage caused by this particular type of trap. If there is a corresponding trap tile, it will then be put on the game board by Zargon. You are then put on the trap square. This ends your turn. If you avoid rolling a skull, you can jump over the trap, expending 2 moves. If you have any moves remaining from your die roll, you may then continue your move. Note, once a falling block trap has been sprung, it cannot be jumped. The path is permanently blocked by a wall of fallen stone. However, once a pit trap has been sprung, though dangerous, it can be jumped. More about jumping pit traps. There may be as many as 3 possible squares to jump on the other side of a single pit. However, a pit in the corner of a corridor has only 1 space open to jump across to, as shown here in this example. In the above illustration, if the square is occupied by a monster, and if you are a hero without any special armory weapons, you must voluntarily fall into the pit, suffering damage, and do combat with the monster. Get disadvantage from the pit. Monsters with enough movement squares and a vacant space beyond will always successfully jump over a pit. If they voluntarily enter pit, they will suffer no damage. Hero Action 6. Disarm a trap. As a hero, to disarm an unsprung trap, you must first know its location, and you must possess a toolkit, or be the dwarf. Toolkit may be purchased between quests at the armory. How a hero disarms a trap with a toolkit, which doesn't apply to a dwarf. As a hero, before you move, you must announce that you are moving onto the trap square to attempt to disarm and remove the trap. You must move onto the trap square and roll 1 combat die. If you roll a skull, you have sprung the trap, suffering by damage. If you roll either a black or white shield, the trap is disarmed. Disarmed trap is considered gone and is not put out on the game board. How the dwarf disarms a trap. As a dwarf, you never need a toolkit to disarm a trap. Your odds of succeeding are great due to your innate skills. To disarm a trap, you must do the following. Before you move, you must announce that you're moving on a trap square to attempt to disarm and remove the trap. Roll 1 combat die. If you roll a black shield, you have sprung the trap, suffering bad damage. If you roll anything except a black shield, the trap is disarmed. Note, a disarmed pit trap is considered to be a regular game board square. Then, next, Zargon, the Evil Sorcerer's turn. Zargon, only after all 4 heroes have completed turn, it is your turn. You may then move every monster currently on the game board. Like heroes, monsters may move and perform an action, or may perform an action and then move, but you can't, move part way and do an action, etc. Each monster may perform one of the following 2 actions: attack or cast a chaos spell. Note, only certain monsters may cast a spell. Refer to the quest notes in the quest book for more information. Monsters may not search for treasure, search for secret doors, move or attack diagonally, pass over heroes, move through walls, open or close doors, share a square on the game board. No monsters do not spring hidden traps, therefore they have no need to search for them or to disarm them. Monster movement. Unlike heroes, monsters do not move by dice roll. Each monster's maximum movement per turn is listed in the monster chart, the information screen, and also on the 8 monster cards. Monsters do not have to move the entire distance indicated on the monster chart. Zargon, the 2 monster actions. Action 1, attack. A monster may attack any hero that it is adjacent to. However, a monster may only attack once per turn. How a monster attacks. An attacking monster rolls the number of attack dice shown in the monster chart on the information screen. Failure to roll any skulls results in a failed attack. Each skull rolled is considered a hit, resulting in 1 body point damage scored against the hero. If hit, the hero immediately defends by rolling his defend dice. If the hero's body points reach 0, the hero is considered dead. Important, if the hero has 1 body point remaining and takes more than 1 point of damage, his body points are still only reduced to 0. And how a hero defends. A defending hero usually rolls 2 defend dice, less if in a pit or under certain spells, and more after purchasing armor. Each white shield rolled by the defending hero blocks 1 hit from the attacking monster. Action 2, Zargon's action 2, cast a chaos spell. As Zargon, you may cast a chaos spell. Instead of attacking, you must give your chaos spells to specific monsters as called for in the quest notes. A monster can only cast a spell on a hero that it can see. Important, you may only cast a spell on your turn. A spell may only be cast once per quest. Once the spell is cast, a spell card is discarded for the remainder of the quest. A spell and its effects are explained in detail on its corresponding spell card. Then dead heroes. As a hero, you die when your body points are reduced to 0, and you do not have a healing spell or a healing potion to save yourself. What happens to a dead hero? As a hero, if you die, you are out of the game for the rest of the quest. You may, however, rename your hero and play him as a new character in the next quest. Armor, weapons, and treasures that belong to you prior to death can be picked up by any other hero in the room with you. Warning, if there are no other heroes in the room or corridor with you when you die, any monster in the room or corridor with you will claim your possessions. You may not, however, use them. They are removed from the game. How a hero escapes death. As a hero, if your body points have been reduced to 0, there are 2 situations where you can save yourself. 1, if you have a healing potion in your possession, you can immediately drink it. 2, if you are a spellcaster with a healing spell and you have not already performed an action in your turn, you can be healed by casting the spell on yourself. Important, after your body points have reached 0, you can never be saved by a fellow hero's spell or potion. It will be too late. You have died by the time it's your fellow hero's turn, the only time when he can cast a spell or give you a potion. In the quest, as a hero, you successfully complete a quest only when you have achieved the quest goal and have returned to the safety of the stairway. A quest may be ended early by the players voluntarily returning to the stairway before completing the quest. or by all 4 heroes dying in their attempt to complete the quest. There's usually a final treasure or a reward associated with successfully completing a quest. Your valiant efforts are rewarded by splitting these rewards amongst yourselves. After successfully completing the quest, circle the corresponding quest number in the character sheet. Keep this sheet as a record of the quests you've completed. What happens between quests? As a hero, your starting body and mind points are automatically restored once you successfully complete the quest and have returned safely to the stairway. All spells are then returned to the wizard and the elf. Finally, you may now visit the armory and purchase new weapons and armor with the gold coins you've accumulated. Wizard, powerful magic items will be offered for sale in future adventures. You may wish to spend your money on those items after future adventures, or if you have enough at that time. Important, you keep any treasures found and take them with you on your next quest. Remember, heroes, to subtract from your character sheet any gold coins spent. Save the sheet between quests and use it again. Lost artifacts for Zargon. It's sometimes required that the heroes have a specific artifact in their possession before they continue on to the next quest. Zargon, if a hero dies while in possession of an artifact and your monsters steal the artifact, you must include the artifact as a special treasure early in the next quest. Then Zargon, unfinished quests. Zargon, if a quest ends with disastrous results or goes unfinished, you should modify the quest before it is replayed. You can do this by creating a new adventure using the blank map and symbols at the end of the quest book. And in the back of the quest book here gives some guidance on how to create your own quest, which is nice. Simply photograph the blank map shown above, along with the symbols shown below. Use them to design your own games. Mark the map with various monsters, furniture, and trap symbols. Then write a short paragraph to explain the adventure and you're ready to play. And there's other quest packs that are out there. So then we'll get into setup and play. The quest I'll be doing is the quest number 2, the rescue of Sir Ragnar. And the heroes will be read. The information here. Sir Ragnar, one of the Emperor's most powerful knights, has been captured. There is reason to believe that he is being held prisoner by Ulag, the Orc warlord. You are to find Sir Ragnar and bring him back to the stairway. Prince Magnus will pay 240 gold coins to be divided among the heroes if they rescue Sir Ragnar. No reward will be paid if Sir Ragnar is killed during the escape. Then here's the map, which the heroes will see as it unfolds. And of course, spoiler alert, if you're planning on being a hero playing this quest, by looking at Zargon's information here, they'll give away some information. But what Zargon sees and the heroes don't is what's in the notes here. So at location A, when they get there, treasure chest had a trap with a poison needle on it. If a hero searches for treasure before the trap is disarmed, he will lose 1 body point. The chest is empty. A is here and B is here. At B, the first hero who searches the room for treasure will find 60 gold coins inside this chest. He'll also find a potion of healing, which will restore up to 4 lost body points when consumed. Then finding Sir Ragnar. When Sir Ragnar is found and alarm sounds, use a plastic chaos warlock figure to represent Sir Ragnar on the board. Place all remaining monsters, doors, and furniture on the board. All doors are now open. Sir Ragnar should be moved by the hero who opened the door to a cell. Heroes cannot search for treasure in the cell. The hero takes his regular turn first, then rolls 1 red die to move the wounded knight. Sir Ragnar must be moved back to the stairs alive to collect your reward. Sir Ragnar may not attack, but may roll 2 dice to defend. He has 2 body points left. Accept your character sheets. On the character sheet, their points for body mind haven't changed yet, and they all have their same initial attack dice. Just move that here. So you can give them a name if you want. The wizard has 1 attack dice, 2 defend dice, 4 body points, and 6 mind points. Barbarian has 3 attack dice, 2 defend dice, 8 body points, and 2 mind points. Dwarf has 2 attack dice, 2 defend dice, 7 body points, 3 mind points. Elf has 2 attack dice, 2 defend dice, 6 body points, 6 mind points. And for weapons, in the so the previous quest, I'm gonna assume that the wizard came away with some gold, and he came up with 120 gold after that. He only needs 100 gold coins to buy a staff, and he's gonna buy a staff. So he takes that 100, has 20 left, and now he has a staff as well as a dagger. You mark off the quest that they completed. They've all completed the first quest. So you mark those off. And none of the others haven't got any gold in the last one. So the barbarian still has a broadsword. The dwarf has a short sword, and the elf has a short sword. The short swords give you attack dice of 2. Broadsword gives you attack dice of 3 to barbarian. And both the dagger and the staff give you attack dice of 1, but he'll be using a staff. And this shield that Zargon has, it's for hiding, the information from the others, but also on the back, of course, it has the different monsters with their movement scores, attack dice, defend dice, body points, and mind points that you'll look at during the game. Take the treasure cards and shuffle all of them. Put them off to the side. Take the artifacts cards, and those will go behind Zargon's screen. And the monster cards, which are shown at the front, thus be around the play area, so the heroes can refer to them for the stats on the different monsters. These are the chaos spell cards that Zargon can consider using during play. There's Firestorm, Lightning Bolt, Ball of Flame, Summon Orcs, Rust, Tempest, Summon Undead, Cloud of Chaos, Escape, Fear, Command, and Sleep. For the heroes, you divide up the hero spell groups between the wizard and the elf. The elf gets 1 spell group, and the wizard gets the other 3. And here's the spells. There's Water Spell Group, which is Sleep, Water Healing, Veil of Mist. Air Spell Group, Tempest, Swift Wind, and Genie. Fire Spell Group, Ball of Flame, Fire of Wrath, and Courage. Earth Spell Group, Rock Skin, Heal Body, Pass Through Rock. The wizard gets to choose first. And this kind of sounds like a fireball, so he'll want to get this group. He'll take the fire spell group. Then of the remaining 3 groups, the elf can choose which one. Next you do the sleep one and water healing as well, so the elf will take the water spell group. And then the wizard will take the remaining, which is the air spell group and the earth spell group. And then you place the items in the starting area that they'll see. There's the stairs. Generally you put what's in this stair area first. So you get a rack over here, then you have a closed door. And the order, you choose the order of the heroes. I'll be going Barbarian, Dwarf, Elf, Wizard. And for the initial placement of the heroes, I'll have Barbarian, Dwarf, Elf, Wizard. Then we'll get into play. Now the heroes go one at a time. They can either move and take an action, or take an action and move. And the 6 actions they can take are attack, cast a spell, search for treasure, search for secret doors, search for traps, or disarm a trap. They can also open doors or take potions, but those don't count as actions. Barbarian goes first, in the order they're going. First you roll the 2 red dice to see how far you can move. You can move 7. And he's going to take a chance. Be more careful to search for traps. But he'll just take his chance because he's pretty close to the door here. And Zargon, as they're going, Zargon checks the map to see if there's any traps he's going to trip, and there aren't any as he goes to the door. Goes 1, 2, opens the door. 3, he's gone 3, and as he goes through the door, you replace it with an open door, and the door stays open. He has 4 movement left. He goes through and he says he's gonna look, and since he's looking in his line of sight, Zargon's always looking at this map to see what they see. There's a goblin down here, and there's nothing else around. He's got 4 more movement. He can still do an action. He's the strongest one in the group, so he'll move away from the door here and be ready to face the goblin. He can't reach him quite yet. He can go a couple more movement, but he'll stop here. That way he's blocking access to the room for his group. And the action he's going to take is search for secret doors. And there are no secret doors in his line of sight, so Zargon says there's no secret doors. That's the end of his turn. The dwarf. First he'll see how far he can move. He can move 4. He's going to search for traps. And Zargon says there's no secret traps since there's none in the room. He goes 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's outside the door now too. Elf goes and he'll check how far he can move. He can move 8. Doesn't know if he'll go that far, but he'll just go to the entrance of the door here. And he'll search for treasure. And there's no special treasure in the room, so Zargon doesn't see any of that. But then he'll draw a treasure card. And he finds a gem, which is nice. Tucked into the toe of an old boot, you find a small gem worth 35 gold coins. Record the money in your sheet. Do not return this card to the duck. So the elf has gotten 35 gold coins. The wizard, he'll first see how far he can move. He can move quite a bit, but he wants to stay behind the barbarian dwarf. So he doesn't need all that movement. And first he'll search for secret doors, and there are no secret doors in the room. Then he'll move closer to the door here. And that's the end of the hero's turn. On Zargon's turn, he can move all the monsters that are currently on the game board, and there's only 1. And then he can attack or do a spell, and goblins don't do spells, so we can't do that. And this is the reference card that the heroes can look at for the different monsters and the goblin. And this also shows on the reference screen. Goblins can move 10, so he'll close. Now he's in combat range of the barbarian. He's got 2 attack dice, 1 defend dice. Then combat will occur. Now combat's going to occur between the goblin and the barbarian. Goblin has 2 attack dice. The barbarian has 2 defend dice. Goblin goes, if he gets a skull, it means it's hit. Gets 1 hit, because he's got 1 skull. Then the barbarian, he gets 2 defend dice. If the hero were to have a white shield, he would have been able to block one of the hits, but he rolled a black shield, and he also rolled a skull. That's what the white shield would look like. Since he didn't block any, he takes one hit. Then you mark off that he has 1 body point damage. That's the end of Zargon's turn. Then I go back to the heroes. Barbarian goes, and before he does his movement, he's going to do his action, which is combating the goblin. The goblin only has 1 body point, so if he knocks on 1 body point, he wins. And the barbarian has 3 attack dice because he's got a broadsword. Each skull he rolls will be a hit. Gets 1 hit. And then the goblin has 1 defend dice. And if he gets a black shield, he blocks it. He doesn't. So he takes 1 body point damage and he's gone. That was a successful combat. Barbarian has done his action, but now he's going to move. He sees how far he can move. He can move 7. He'll start walking down the hallway here. Six. And as he moves to this spot, he'll check to see what he sees. It doesn't cost an action. I'm assuming he can, since it does cost an action, he can look in both directions there. Zargon will check his map here, and there's a goblin and some block passageways there he'll put on the board. And also a door. It's a goblin right here. It's a closed door. This hallway's blocked. And also this hallway's blocked. He's got 1 more movement, but he'll just stay there. Then the dwarf goes. It's often a good idea not to break up the group, but he's feeling a little bit ambitious, so he might go in a different direction. See how far he can move. Go 5. He'll go over this way. He'll see. And from the map, there's nothing to see down there. And 2, 3, 4. He'll look down the hallway. From Zargon's map, there's another goblin down here and stuff to see down here. Put the goblin in its spot here. There's also a closed door going to this room. And the corridor is blocked here. A neat feature of the block in the hallway is it reconfigures your map for the different scenarios. He's got 1 more movement. He'll go here. And he'll search for traps to see if there's any traps between him and the goblin. The dwarf says, I am searching for traps. Zargon checks his map. There are no traps, and Zargon says there are no traps. If there were, he would indicate which squares they were on. That's the dwarf's turn. Then the elf goes. Sees how far he can move. He can move quite far. He can move 11. He's going to assume that the barbarian's got things under control. And these guys have gone already, so he's going to assume that this is clear of traps. 1, 2, 9, 10. He can make it all the way up to the monster. For his action, he's going to do a spell. He's going to check what spells he has available. The elf has the water spells to choose from. And he wants to try the sleep on the goblin. The sleep spell puts a monster into a deep sleep so it cannot move, attack, or defend itself. The spell can be broken at once or on a future turn by a monster rolling 1 red die for each of his mind points. If a 6 is rolled, the spell is broken. May not be used against mummies, zombies, or skeletons. And the goblin has 1 mind point, so he gets to roll 1 die. Gets a 1. If he would have gotten a 6, the spell is broken. So the goblin is now sleeping. Indicate that by just putting him down there. Now successful. Then once this spell is used, since the elf used the spell, then it's discarded, so can't use that again. Then the wizard goes. See how far he moves. Goes 8. Wants to go check out what's going on here. Again, he's assuming that everybody's traveled, so there's no traps there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now do an action. He's going to look at casting a spell. He can choose between the fire spell, earth spells, or air spells. He's going to check out the fire spells here, see what his options are. So of the fire spells, got a few options. Got Ball of Flame, Fire Breath, and Courage. He's limited somewhat though, because the dwarf is blocking his line of sight. Because if a hero or monster or wall is in your way, it blocks your line of sight. So he can't do Ball of Flame, Fire of Wrath, but Courage. This spell may be cast on any one hero, including yourself. The next time that hero attacks, he may roll 2 extra combat dice. The spell is broken the moment the hero can no longer see a monster. So even though he could do that on the dwarf isn't currently seeing a monster because his line of sight is blocked too, so I guess he'll pass on doing that. And since none of those spells make sense or can't be done in most cases, he'll either look for secret doors or look for traps. He'll go ahead and look for traps, and specifically up this direction. He'll look for traps, and Zargon doesn't see any traps there, so he'll say there's no traps. So at least now he knows that this path is cleared up here, at least towards here. And that's the end of the hero's turn. Then you go to Zargon. Zargon's turn. He only has 1 monster left on the board, this goblin, so he'll move him up to combat the barbarian. Then his action will be attack. He's got 2 attack dice. Barbarian has 2 defend dice. If goblin gets a skull, it means it's a hit. 2 hits. Then we'll see if the barbarian defends. If he gets a white shield, it's a defense. Gets 1 white shield. The result, you got 2 hits but defending 1, so the result he gets 1 body point of damage. Mark it down. So he has a total of 2 body points damage, and his starting points are 8, so he's down to 6 right now. And that's the end of that turn. Hopefully that gives you a bit of a sense to play. So it's HeroQuest game system from Milton Bradley from 1989 and 1990. I understand there's a more recent kind of reprint that came out, but this is the vintage edition. Happy I got it. I was a bit skeptical at first because back in the day I was more of a AD&D guy, so I wasn't that familiar with it. but it's enjoyable, and it's got a lot going for it. Everything moves kind of quick, but you can do spells, you can do strategy. You got to figure out how you're going to manage your group, different monsters, different taking chances of looking for treasure. You might get wandering monsters, traps. It's neat that you can go from quest to quest too, and you accumulate treasure, and you can upgrade a little bit. A lot going for it. When compared to D&D, it's quite different. Yeah, obviously much more simplified, but it is a dungeon crawl, and it would be interesting. I might look at this in the future if there's interest. You could definitely use the components for a D&D mission for sure. It'd be interesting to develop a simple D&D quest that works with these components, and let me know if there's interest. I might do that, either AD&D or 5th edition D&D. It's interesting mechanics. It is interesting how you have to roll for the movement, and you can move from 2 to 12. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it works with the play, I guess. Usually when you think of die roll, it's like the randomness of different things happening in combat or something. I'm not quite sure why there's randomness in the movement. I guess when you're in a dungeon, there could be different obstructions, and maybe that's why it is, but it kind of works it also as a way of making it random who can get up to the monsters first, that sort of thing. So that's good. It's got a lot going for it. Great component, especially for the time, but even currently, these components hold up really well. Definitely recommend it if you can get it out there. I'll give it a 8 out of 10. Thanks a lot.